Hi, you're watching Hindustan Times. I'm Aditi Prasad. A very exciting morning. The BJP's hopes of forming its first government in West Bengal, sort of crumbled earlier today as trends of the 2021 assembly elections pointed to a clear victory, a third time in a row victory for Mamata Banerjee. The results today showed how elections in India can really never be predicted, and amongst almost every pollster got every state wrong except Kerala, really, where Pinarayi Vijayan is, back bucking a trend which, alternate parties trend, sort of in the state for the last many decades. Could these results mean the eclipsing of the Congress party and the rise of Mamata Banerjee as the main, opposition face for the opposition, for a united opposition? That's the question we're going to talk about. And I have with us Animesh Pandey of PMark, and I have with me, a very seasoned political analyst, Pratim Ranjan Bose. I'll start with you, Mr. Bose. What do you think is happening here?
With DMK's win and with Stalin in and this side Mamta in, and this is a great moral booster for the opposition. There is little doubt about it. So undoubtedly, the opposition pressure will increase henceforth. We can be rest assured about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether it will it will lead to is a different issue, and we are far away from that. So I'll not get into that. If I look at it on the other hand, to BJP, uh, except their excessive focus on West Bengal, if that is why they have lost face, if they have at all, or they may be facing the flag, or the loss will be fall heavy on them. But that apart, if we look at the total, on a politically, then Assam, honestly, I didn't expect them to win Assam so convincingly, where the opposition has joined in a combined kind of group, as in Bihar. And in Kerala, they opened a count. They are leading in 3 seats. I saw in EC website. In Tamil Nadu, we have to check if they open the account. That will mean a dent into the Dravidian politics, the GER of the Dravidian politics. So organizationally, they are spreading. Their stronghold remains. They have become stronger, but sentiment-wise, opposition will definitely feel quite worked up, and they will vacate. They will occupy the space that is being vacated by Congress. There is little doubt about
And,
that.
and Mamata Banerjee being the face of that opposition. Animesh, I'm going to come to you. I'm already seeing on my Twitter feed a lot of people actually giving out statements like, and I'm not talking about APID people, I'm talking about people like Sanjay Raut, that Banerjee has sent out a clear message that Modi ji and Amit Shah are not invincible, that they can be defeated. Another political leader saying Banerjee is now a national level alternative for the UPA. She has not only stopped the huge BJP juggernaut, but has actually pushed it back. Your thoughts on whether Mamata Banerjee could now emerge as the linchpin for the opposition?
So you have raised two critical points. First of all, thank you for inviting me to the show. You have raised two critical points. The first point is that Mamata has shown the way to how to defeat Modi and Shah. So in that sense, yes, there's a playbook that has emerged, and if any opposition party that wants to defeat BJP and with its election machinery, they can certainly take cues from the way Mamata has fought tooth and nail for the past 2 years. She knew she was in danger in 2019, when BJP suddenly won about 18 out of 42 parliamentary seats. So in that sense, it is there. But the second point, whether she can be the glue to unite the opposition across India, I think she had an inherent strength in West Bengal in the sense that she has been part of the state politics for 25 years. But to carry forward that performance to say Bihar, UP, Gujarat, that would be a long call. And I don't think that she can do it just yet. But she has certainly given a playbook for other opposition parties, for other regional parties, and even Congress, that if you fight hard, in spite of whatever machinery that BJP has in terms of election, in terms of governance, in terms of media, whatever, you can fight. And if you fight really hard, if you fight it the right way, then you can certainly win.
I want to come to you, Mr. Bose. What exactly do you think happened here in West Bengal? There was the Modi Amit Shah juggernaut, and Amit Shah actually going on record claiming that his party is going to get 200 seats. What exactly went wrong with their playbook in Bengal? Where did they get it wrong? Because most of their star campaign, MPs who contested elections, even they are sort of trading badly.
So far, insofar as, see, it's too early to analyze something, but what comes on top of my mind is that they have come up in a meteoric speed in West Bengal. The rise has been meteoric. It's not unlike Assam, where they had a very strong, they have been there, or other parts of the country. What particularly, to my mind, has gone wrong is, if you have noticed, the particularly from the third and fourth round, there was a lot of noise inside the party, and some people were storming the party headquarters here regarding selection of candidates. It all became a little sometime around 6 or 7 months ago. There was before that, the state president Dilip Ghosh has been in charge, and he was moving in a particular direction. And then started the fight that whether the outsiders can come in or not, and to what extent they will be powerful. And then this policy of imports, right? And they went on for these imports. Now see, the import policy hasn't really worked well for them. If we look at Hooghly, for example, in Singur is any journalist visiting that place, anyone could have told you that Singur is a completely one seat for them. They lost it. Why? They gave ticket, breaking their own rule. They gave ticket to a 89-year-old fourth-time MLA of Trinamool. Right. Now, this, to my mind, this has cost them really hard. Had they, I would like to see it that this way. If we look at the lineup in 2019, there were not much of outsiders. But this time there were a lot of outsiders, and they fared worse than 2019. So that way, the import policy has gone against them, and there came the word over here like BJ Mool, which is Trinamool, becoming BJP. So one theory was that if the not so good elements in BJP, in Trinamool, are going out, then Trinamool is becoming purer, and BJP is becoming that.
But Trinamool did try to stop the likes of Suvedu Adhikari from leaving its shores. But yes, later Prashant Kishore himself went on to say that good that they have left. And I want to bring in Animesh at this point in time. Animesh, you worked with Prashant before. You've been part of his team. Did you anticipate this kind of a result in West Bengal, knowing that Prashant and team were behind this?
See, I did not anticipate such a one-sided election in terms of the seats that TMC has won. I certainly did not expect it, but I did expect that TMC would win. And the reason is precisely as Mr. Ghosh mentioned, and there are a couple of other factors. In 2019, they came back just on the face of anti-incumbency, because 2018 panchayat elections was, you could say, manipulated. Certain candidates were not set, and the public expressed an anger. Once Prashant came in, he did not, in terms of campaigning as such, probably his efforts were not that much. But what he did was, by using the government machinery, he tried to contain the anti-incumbency that was there. Through government programs like Dware Sarkar, Kanyashri, etc., where even simple problems of public can be solved, and a dent of 5-6% vote share can be made. So BJP has gone from 40 to 38%, and Trinamool has increased from 4%. So that was his main focus.
Right, and clearly BJP has not been really able to make any improvements. Mamata Banerjee has made up, as many people are pointing out, that Mamata Banerjee has been able to push the BJP, not just stop them, but also push them back a little. Because in 2019, as per the results, the results the assembly wise, if you sort of saw the poll results in assembly segments, then BJP has actually done, almost at par. They've
Worse.
not been able to do much more than what they had done in 2019. But I
They've
want to
done
ask
worse
you,
actually. Yeah.
they have
From
done worse. Okay, you have
121
you
to
have
90. Yeah.
yeah, so there you go. So they've actually done worse from 2019. So she's actually been managed to push them back. Does this stop the Modi Shah juggernaut? That is the one question. Does this stop the accusation that they are trying to sort of convert the whole country into a one-party country? That question I will come to, and I will come to you with Pratim with that. But what I want to ask you, Animesh, is primarily Mamta's stature in the opposition, you said, will grow. Whether Mamta will be able to take on whether she's actually going to slip into that role. Even I was listening to Prashant Kishore's interview some time ago on a national television channel, and he also said that, she's tried it before. She's tried to get all parties together before, and be the opposition leader, ahead of 2019 elections. But their differences are so many, and they had so many differences over seat sharing. It really didn't work out. Do you think she can now take on that super role? You've said before that you probably are not sure that she can, but do you think if push comes to shove, she can take on a super role of becoming the linchpin of the opposition again? I'm actually posing a threat to Modi in 2024. That is also a lot of people, they are saying Modi versus Mamta in 2024. A lot of people have already started predicting that. Does that sound something that could be in the realm of possibility?
I mean, it is a hypothetical question, but if we just, for a minute consider it into the realm of possibility, then one is certainly that because she has defeated BJP, which was such a priority state for BJP, and defeated them so massively, she certainly has emerged as one of the tallest leaders, if not the tallest leaders among the opposition various parties. So she certainly can be the glue that can stitch an alliance. In terms of arithmetic, that can be worked out. Then the second thing that a voter needs is the narrative. Here in Bengal, there was a strong narrative. Now, what narrative spread it across pan India? That is something that once those parties come up and form an alliance, form a coalition, what narrative are they going to sell? One or two key differentiating factors could be that she's a woman, and she's probably the only chief minister who has actually taken women votes away from BJP. With the Ujjwala scheme, Modi had started taking a lot of women votes. But she being a woman chief minister, and she certainly has certain unique traits that can take away that segment of vote. And in these assembly elections, whether it's in Kerala, whether it's in Tamil Nadu, women vote has mattered. Second, of course, and she, as you mentioned, she can be the leader, the glue for the anti-incumbency votes for BJP to come in. But it does require a strong narrative, strong cohesion, and a strong campaign.
Right. I want to come to you, Pratim, with that. So please tell me, in your opinion, Animesh raised a very important point about women voters. Women voters are definitely starting to matter as far as Indian polity is concerned. The Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah made a big play for the women voters in Bengal, but they decided to stick it out with Mamata Banerjee this time. And really, a lot of people, BJP insiders who have been speaking, to say that that has made the winning and losing difference for the Bharatiya Janata Party in West Bengal. The women voters have stuck with Mamta. What do you think? Should we start taking? I mean, obviously, we need to start taking the women voters more seriously. They're coming out in larger numbers to vote, and in many cases, even voting against whatever the male counterparts of their families are. The direction in which they are voting. How do you see Mamta playing out to the women voters in the months and years to come nationally?
Now, yeah, nationally, see, once again, I'd like to say, first of all, what exactly happened in West Bengal, I don't think anyone really has a clue. I mean, I really did like Mr. Animesh saying that he didn't expect this result. I mean, in whichever way, he expected TMC to win, but he didn't expect this. I would prefer to believe that even TMC didn't, right? Because in some seats, the results are so surprising. Having said so, whether women really, it was women who voted for Mamta, because see, uh, in a family, if suppose the male members voted for BJP and the female members voted for TMC, it can happen. That is what is democracy all about. But then if you see the pictures, right, it has already started. Someone is burning some BJP office. So atrocities, the violence filled environment of Bengal. So whether that really work, if it has worked, then it's a new beginning for Bengal. uh, we have to see. The second part is about nationally, how it will pan out nationally. I think it's too early to comment how it will work out, because opposition has seen a very big leader in Arvind Kejriwal. He has beaten BJP not once but twice. And secondly, we have also seen that the results of Assembly and Lok Sabha becoming different in Delhi. Similarly, there has been a rise of Uddhav Thackeray. Now, Stalin is there. The one problem is that these all are very ambitious leaders. So, who will be the glue to whom? I mean, when we saw earlier, there was a time when Jyoti Babu was invited to be the chief prime minister. Now, CPM had always played that role of acting as a glue in the united front, right? They used to keep them together. But whether so to do that, TMC has to really grow in terms of its kind of mindset or whatever, because it is not going to be a one man or one woman task to fight against them. And so that is what we have to see. I mean, it is not going to be that easy or straight. I mean, I don't have a straightforward answer to this.
No
They
straightforward
have to grow
answers.
in other states as well.
Yeah, so the TMC obviously has to grow in other states as well. And can she serve as the glue? Because as we all saw, ahead of the 2019 elections, she had invited everyone to the Kolkata. I think it was the brigade grounds where there was a massive show of strength, but nothing really. It all that opposition alliance, that very fragile, it sort of petered out at the end of the day. But I want to ask you about the strong regional leaders. I mean, at least at the regional level, at the state level, the Mamata Banerjee's win, and this kind of a win, where literally 215 seats they are almost leading on, which is more than what they had last time. What sort of a lesson is it for other states heading into elections in 2022? Clearly, strong regional leaders can stop the Modi Shah Rath. uh, Pinayari Vijayan in Kerala, Mamata Banerjee in Bengal. A strong regional leadership is really needed to sort of tide over this wave. That's the blueprint that Mamata seems to be giving to all her other opposition leaders.
Yeah, that's one, certainly. That's one playbook that she has given. The second is preparation. You can't, step up for an election 15 days, 1 month before the election. She had Prashant Kishore 2 years before, in June 2019. And he has been there working for the past 2 years, ensuring that TMC, gets the kind of mandate that it has got today. So the opposition parties can't, just sit there and wait for the BJP to crumble or the anti-incumbency to develop so much that they just automatically come to power. That is probably wishful thinking. So they would have to prepare. They would have to take the tricks and trade that Mamata applied, and then work really hard for 1 year, 2 year, whenever the elections are, and then probably they will have a chance of defeating them. In this election, in this state, BJP did not have a core ideological vote that they historically have in other states. So for UP, they've always, even in their worst times, they've always had 15-20% vote share. So
Right.
in their worst stage, when from 2004 to 2014, when BJP was losing in every state election. So in that sense, that disadvantage will not be there for BJP in other states, in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, even in Maharashtra. While Uddhav Thackeray is the chief minister, but he doesn't have the arithmetic advantage there. So he would have to gain that as well to gain probably respect of the other opposition leaders. So there is a lot of things to be learned, but learning them and then applying them is two different things.
Learning and applying are two different things. But you saw the visuals that were playing out on on your screen right now. These are visuals of TMC workers celebrating. Of course, COVID. We are in the middle of a raging pandemic. Of course, last three phases of the elections, the COVID pandemic, and the kind of impact it could have possibly had on voters. But these are the visuals you see on your screens. These are TMC workers celebrating their very well-deserved celebration, but we need to understand really that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I hope after today the narrative is going to change after now. I mean, so that more people are, sort of not affected by this ongoing pandemic. Not a single more life is lost. We need to, those rallies that happened have faced a lot of criticism. The Election Commission has faced a lot of criticism for keeping it going.
True.
But let's hope that that doesn't happen. But I want to talk about Mamata's chances in 2024, and especially given the lack of a strong opposition in the Hindi belt. Even if she manages to stitch together an alliance of like-minded parties and becomes the face of that alliance, the opposition, the rest of the opposition really is scattered. We should have, I mean, there's no, the one national opposition, which is the Congress, which should have been a face there. Even that, unfortunately, has not, I mean, as these election results also show, even in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, or in West Bengal, they've not really managed to do very, very well.
Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true. And probably Mamata with 42 seats in West Bengal. And make no mistake, there's certainly anti-incumbency. So the 38% that vote share that BJP is getting, it is largely on account of anti-incumbency. And when a Lok Sabha election will come, when the country has to choose the prime minister, that vote share will increase. So Mamata can't be complacent. Whatever shortcomings were there, which allowed the rise of BJP in the state in such a short span of time of 5 years, from 3 seats to whatever 80 odd seats that they're getting. So she has to correct that, make sure that West Bengal is under her grip. She gets the majority of the seats, and then probably expand either by an alliance or something to other states.
Pratim Ranjan Bose, I want to come to you with that question and probably get your insight on this whole thing that Animesh is talking about, voting in a state election versus a national election. And do you think Mamata might be able to replicate this nationally, this success in Bengal? What are the chances? Or are people hedging their bets, or are people getting too excited over a win in a state? Because we all know by now, we've been told numerous times that the voters are voting differently in state polls and differently in national elections.
First, let's not forget that Mamata Banerjee did try to expand in other states, but she was unsuccessful. So there has been attempt in that respect, and at that time, rather her political in 2014, for example, she was at the peak of her career in the political prospects. So I don't see a direct relation between a woman prime minister, woman chief minister, and the win and of taking on BJP. Rather, I see here a commonality, that is strong leadership, right? So on which it is on Modi's leadership on which BJP rose to power and has retained it in 2019. So from the opposition, that power has to, that kind of a leadership has to come first. Second problem here is that you need an anchor. So ideally, BJP could have been countered by Congress. Now right. Congress is getting weaker. So you may be having some regional strong leaders at this moment, but you never know what is going to happen, because if you remember in 2014, we had many such leaders, including Mamata in power. So that's, I think, and we may remember that in Bihar, Nitish Kumar fell out from NDA. So all these things have already happened. So there is, I will not get into a sort of direct answer to this. I don't have, people have to prove what I fully agree with Mr. Animesh, that they have to prove their worth.
And okay, so 2024 you see as still very far away to sort of predict what Mamta will or can or cannot achieve. But what about 2022? What lessons can opposition leaders in Uttar Pradesh, maybe in Akhilesh, Mayawati, what lessons can they learn from Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand? A lot of states are going to polls in 2022. What lessons can they learn from the Bengal template?
I don't think that there is a uniform lesson to be learned from Bengal. Okay, if we look at Bengal polls, what exactly has happened? That there has been one leader, the regional leader, held supreme. The she might have got support from some. It is not. It is just by the poll result. Let's not forget that in 2006, CPM had maximum seats and maximum vote share, 50% plus, and we all know what happened in 2011. So just because of one election, we cannot similarly straight away predict that this is the formula and that is going to work. So in UP, someone has to come up and some with that kind of a political muscle. Someone has to build a muscle around it. You just cannot just keep on working. So far as I understand, in fact, there is one lesson in Bengal election. I had been saying from the beginning, it will be one way. It cannot be halfway through. A hung parliament, hung assembly never happened in West Bengal for last 50 years. So I was very confident about that. So I think people of Uttar Pradesh, if they have a long experiment with hung assemblies, if they choose again, they may. But there is also a possibility that they may not. They may pick up a strong government.
Okay, I want to welcome Yashwant Deshmukh, the founder of Sea Water. A lot of pollsters got it wrong this time. All the results in Bengal, especially, except Yashwant Deshmukh, Sea Water was perhaps closest to the mark, and he's now joined us. Yashwant, what does what is your first reaction to the response that we've to the results that we've gotten in Bengal?
Well, as you said that in the tracker for the last 6 months, we have been seeing that Mamata is going to win. It is neither surprising nor out of the blue for us. Only thing that has probably slight surprise is the meltdown of the left in the Congress, and that has given the 25 seats flip to Mamata Banerjee. I believe that what we were expecting 170, 180 tak jayega. वो उसमें 25-30 seats और लग रहा है कि add हुआ, and that is largely because of the complete meltdown of left in the Congress. And what fundamentally nothing has changed in our tracker in that way. We have been telling that minorities are not getting divided. They are very much firmly behind Mamata Banerjee. And the Mahila vote bank, female votes, that is the crux of the story, Aditi, not just in West Bengal. You see, I've been trying to map this and underlining this. In Bihar election also, we were the only one to call it right only because of the female voter. We tried to explain that, it is just because of the female voter that Nitish is back. Nothing else. There is no other reason. And in the last 60 years, you may call it, in the first 60 years, there was always a 10% almost gap between female and male turnouts. Male turnout was here, female turnout used to be here. In the last 10 years, slow and steady, not only the female turnout has come at par with the males, but it has now overtaken in many places. Second most important thing, in all the previous study, it used to be said that, females do not have a vote choice of their own. They vote where their family members say, the husband says, the father says, like that. But now we have got empirical evidence in our tracker, that females are not only voting more than the males, but they have a different mind and they are voting on their own issues and their own ways. So female vote bank, not only it has arrived, but it is now an independent vote bank in India. And it is a very critical development because females, unlike what they are accused of, that they are emotional voters. No. They are the voters who are voting on the real issues, Aditi. It is the male voters who are voting more on the polarization, Hindu, Muslim, blah, 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 blah. But females are very, very crisp and clear in their decision. They are voting for the governance, for the schemes which are beneficial to them. Lok Sabha happened, they voted for Narendra Modi because of the gas cylinders and other things which helped them. Vidhan Sabha election, they voted for Mamata Banerjee because of the Sukanya scheme and other zillion schemes which were beneficial to them. And not only in the West Bengal, Aditi, every winner in this election has to thank only female vote bank. If BJP is winning in Assam, it is courtesy female voters. If left is coming back in Kerala, it is courtesy female voters. If DMK is winning Tamil Nadu, it is only because the female voters who used to vote for AIA-DMK because of Jayalalitha, they are not voting for AIA-DMK anymore. Same is the story with Puducherry. All 5 states, if you will ask me one single thing which has worked everywhere, is the emergence of independent female vote bank, which has helped the winners to win this election.
Which ties in very well with what I was speaking to a BJP leader a while ago, and he did say this. He did say this that Modi and Amit Shah were banking on the female voters in Bengal, which eventually decided to go lock, stock, and barrel with Mamata Banerjee, and hence the sweep that she's got, she's getting even more. She seems to be getting even more than what the party had got last year. But Yashwant, you joined us a little late. We were discussing about what these results, and you talked about how national elections and state elections are different, and a lot of opposition leaders have already started rejoicing about Mamata Banerjee's win, thinking that she's going to be opposition. She's going to. They actually, some are even talking about a Modi versus Mamata in 2024. Do you call that wishful thinking? After that, I'm going to come to whether she's going to become an alternative opposition face to Rahul Gandhi.
Well, nothing is impossible in politics, Aditi. There is a vacuum of national alternatives, and that is evident in the tracker data and all the surveys that we do. And no vacuum in democratic societies remains permanent. Vacuum is generally people fill up that vacuum with the right set of leadership. So if there is a vacuum of opposition leaders, somebody or else will come up. Right now, that is being filled up at the regional or the state level. Every state does have an opposition ruler or figure which is getting or winning and defeating Modi in the state election. ऐसा नहीं है कि मोदी जी election नहीं आ रहे हैं. Arvind Kejriwal, your Punjab, your Odisha, now Mamata Banerjee. I mean, there are big number of states.
Wherever there is a strong regional leader.
Exactly. So people do go for the strong leader if there is an alternative. It is not that nobody takes it for granted that Narendra Modi is going to win everywhere. However, to become an alternative at the national level, it's a different ball game altogether. Because you not only need a national level infrastructure or platform to stand on, but also you also need a Chanakya Buddhi like Harkishan Singh Surjit, who could weave you around all the opposition parties. So we are lacking. That Chanakya Buddhi could be Sharad Pawar, but Sharad Pawar has his own ambition to play that role. And if the news is to be believed and what I have been reading, that he is also actively lobbying with the BJP to become president of India, So that is a kind of thing which is always a question mark. Third, will the Gandhis and the Congresses leave that platform because all this thing can happen only when the Congress is also there in that opposition alliance, because it remains the only pan-India platform as such. So unless something drastic happens, something like that, okay, Sharad Pawar, Mamata and all the ex-Congress regional parties, they merge it in the Congress and Mamata Banerjee become the Congress president. Of course, if that happens, wow, that will be like a direct shot. But if not, then why Mamata? Mamata Banerjee, if she has 21 member of parliament, DMK has 39. You are getting Mamata, then Mayawati also say, I have got 10. I have got 403 assembly seat to fight on. There would be so many others to say that. Jagan Mohan Reddy will say that, okay, I have got more MPs than you. Why should I be left behind? So all of them need to figure out with that one person they can get back behind on. At this point of time, what I definitely feel that Rahul Gandhi has lost that possibility whatsoever was there, because after losing Kerala, that
Kerala,
is
absolutely.
now his home state. You just cannot lose Kerala and try to become the Prime Minister of India, because you are Wayanad member of Parliament. And that day, Aditi, you remember when he went to Wayanad, we were discussing, and I had told you this is going to backfire, because this man could have contested from any damn seat in Kerala and won. He could have contested from Trivandrum, Thrissur, any seat, but why Wayanad? Because everybody knows that Wayanad is a Muslim majority seat where winning is 100% guaranteed. The moment you chose Wayanad, you exposed Congress to a branding which was completely a harakiri branding. In today's India, Aditi, you can win election by being pro-Muslim. No problem in that. Mamata Banerjee is pro-Muslim in her politics. She has won. So many leaders have won with the pro-Muslim politics. But probably you cannot electorally win in India anymore by being branded as anti-Hindu. This is a cold, rude fact in our faces, which no political party can, uh, you know, not think of. And funny thing is that every political party in India is learning that. Every political party.
I want to bring in.
Arvind Kejriwal has become more Sanghi than the Sanghis. That's what now the liberals are accusing him of.
Right.
Even CPM became a Hindu party in Kerala, took a U-turn on Sabarimala.
Mamata Banerjee took a Chandi path, but I want to bring in Pratim Ranjan Bose here, Yashwant, and then I'll come back to you. Pratim, what is your opinion about Rahul Gandhi and what Yashwant is saying about being? Did he try and project an anti-Hindu? But Yashwant, maybe it's too much of a stretch to say that he was projecting an anti-Hindu face when he was contesting from Wayanad.
You see, it is for you to see the way the Congress has been positioned in Kerala. Who has voted for Congress in Kerala? The core vote of the Congress is now Kerala is only Muslim voters. So much so, Aditi, Congress is suffering a weird humiliation of having a lesser strike rate than their alliance partner, Muslim League. Having a lesser strike rate than their alliance partner, AIUDF.
I'd like to bring in Pratim to comment on that. Pratim,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Where is the space for Rahul Gandhi? I mean, a leader has to prove. You see, I mean, forget about X, Y, or Z. A leader has to prove, and especially when you are faced against a tall leader like Narendra Modi. Then, of course, these leaders, these regional leaders. So, not only Kerala, look at the status of Congress in West Bengal in this election. Where has it gone? It's all wiped out. So look at Assam. They had a good organization in Assam when compared to rest of India. But look at its status. So I don't see, I mean, he has had it, it's over. So there has to be someone new. And Congress always had a problem of having someone outside the family. So it has to be from the family. And that someone from the family has once again has to prove that he or she is worth it. So it's going to be a little long story at this moment it seems.
Well, I want to go with that. So somebody new, obviously not coming into the Congress. BJP probably also, not very happy at the turn of events. Strong lessons for 2022 state elections. Yashwant, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Gujarat, a lot of states going to polls. What lessons? I had asked this question of Pratim before you joined, but I'm going to ask this to you again for your response to that.
Well, Aditi, 2 months back, we had this 4-year report card of the 3 states that you mentioned, and the tracker very clearly shows. We said that the chief minister was the worst chief minister in India rated by the people, and they had to change that chief minister. But the alternative that is given, now they are unable to decide whether it is the, it is better or the worse. We don't even know. Uh, Uttarakhand, definitely BJP is in a bad shape. They are going to lose, regardless of COVID or not. Punjab, captain is in not really great shape. Aam Aadmi Party is gaining ground over there. The only way captain is saving himself is right now is that after the divorce of Akalis and the BJP, the urban Hindu vote of the BJP is polarizing towards captain simply because they are still fearing the Khalistani support base of Khalistani leaning support base of Aam Aadmi Party, which they fear. So that is something which, but he is uncomfortable. He is definitely uncomfortable. Now coming down to our home state, Aditi, Uttar Pradesh, the less we said, the better. What exactly has gone wrong in the state, we have seen. I mean, I can't imagine the kind of misery that the COVID is putting all of us across. On the day of the exit poll, one of our very aged relatives in Lucknow, he expired, and I had to, put my entire collection and everything just to get him cremated because there was 2 days wait list in the cremation for the Smashan Ghat. So I had never seen that kind of. I was born in Banaras, Aditi, and my friends tell me that there is a wait list on Manikarnika Ghat and Harishchandra Ghat. These are the kind of things which are unthinkable of. But having said that, whether that anger is going to electorally come out of ballot box, unfortunately, I am skeptical of that because of a simple reason: the arithmetic. The problem is that the opposition leadership in Uttar Pradesh, particularly the Samajwadi Party leadership, is so lazy that they are just trying to lie around thinking that by default of anti-incumbency, they are going to win. There is nothing called as a default victory in Indian politics anymore, Aditi. People have to really, rub it off like anything. Mamata
Look like
Banerjee,
Mamata Banerjee did. Like Mamata Banerjee did.
yeah, Mamata Banerjee did, worked her back off, to win this election. If Akhilesh can do something more than just posting his picture with Mamata Banerjee on Twitter, then definitely there is a chance for him. But can he do Mamata Banerjee? He cannot do Mamata Banerjee just sitting at home. He cannot do Mamata Banerjee just by thinking that people are angry with BJP and they will come and vote for me. It's not going to happen. One has to hit the ground running. And one thing which even the strictest of the adversaries of the Narendra Modi and Amit Shah duo, they would give in that these two gentlemen think 24/7 politics invested in that, and be it municipality election, be it Lok Sabha election, they are on the ground. They are working like hell. You cannot snatch the victory from these kind of people unless you are a hard worker like Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee has
Right.
shown
So a lot of hard
precisely
work.
the blueprint.
Absolutely.
You cannot have a wishful victory by lying around. No. If you have the guts to become Mamata Banerjee, if you have the guts to work that hard, definitely you can win. But unfortunately, in UP, the two major opposition groups, I mean, on a 0 to 10 scale, Aditi, you tell me, if Mamata Banerjee is 10 on hard working, where do you put the two opposition leaders of Uttar Pradesh?
Absolutely. So a lot of hard work is needed to actually push back the Modi Shah juggernaut. As many people, Sanjay Roy went on Twitter today to say that Mamata Banerjee sent out a clear message that they are invincible, they can be defeated. Modi ji and Amit Shah ji. That's what Sanjay Raut's message was. But the point, as Yashwant is making, is probably that you need a lot of gusto and the kind of groundwork that Mamata, she broke her foot, but in a wheelchair. So she sort of not just managed to push back the BJP juggernaut, but also, make her mark in West Bengal politics. She's coming back for a third term, and with a lot of support behind her. And this time, with, as I see, more than 219 seats as of now, leads in that. So, fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us on this broadcast. Whether it's going to be Mamata versus Modi in 2024, our panelists, of course, are divided on that. But as far as today is concerned, it's Trinamool's day, it's Mamata Banerjee's day, and she and her party and her supporters are all rejoicing. Thank you so much for joining us for this broadcast. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times for more updates.